Just have some pencils and paper ready to write, or make sure you guys go back and listen to the replays. We're going to talk about some systems and technology you guys should be implementing into your business. Does anyone have any questions before we get started?
I do.
Okay.
Uh, on like the systems and um, apps, technology apps, and things of that nature. Like when you give us to dos, like
Uh-huh.
homework or what have you, like what is the turnaround time on that? You know what I mean? So for instance, like we meet on here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday every week.
Uh-huh.
So do we have like 7 days to implement what we learn? Like, cause I struggle with trying to do everything I learned that day. I struggle with trying to get everything done when I haven't mastered or understand one of the five things that you suggested we do.
Very good. So, what I always suggest is for you to implement one. First, I'll implement evaluation. Evaluate all of the activities, right? Which one are you comfortable with doing at a high power the very next day? That's where I would start. Because a lot of times as adults, we tend to lie to ourselves, right? We hear a good idea and we say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. But ask ourselves the question, do we have the capacity right now to actually get that done? It's This app is meant for you guys to for me to give you a bunch of ideas, because everybody is going to fall in place with one or two of the ideas. So all of them may not work for you right now. All of them may not even apply to your business right now. So the first step is always to evaluate and then ask yourself this question: which one can I do at a high power without hesitation starting tomorrow? And that's the one that I would do first.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, really, guys, don't get overwhelmed with trying to do it all, because you're actually spreading your effort thin. And so we really are trying to evaluate which activity will give us a high rate of return. And we have to try these activities for about 60 to 90 days to really tell if it's going to give us a high rate of return. But to say that I can do it all, knowing that I don't really have the capacity, the mental mindset, or the direction to get it done, is really like fooling ourselves. So kind of just evaluate these things. Like the systems that I'm going to give you today, some of the apps that I'm going to tell you about, these only apply to you if this is something that you're doing in your business. So I will give you some lead generation apps that you guys could use. But first, we have to know like what direction we're going in our business. So today's conversation is about technology that every agent should be using right now, right? So before I go into a list of technology, how many of you guys are equipping and using technology in your business right now?
I am.
Nobody?
I am.
Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
So does it make your job easier, or does it make you more money?
Easier.
Both. Both.
Okay. Okay, what is it doing for you? Is it making your job easier, or is it making you more money?
Right.
I would say it's probably more easier now. Just streamlining stuff, being efficient. I'm pretty sure it's a monetary value in that. I just haven't figured out how to capture it.
Okay. So we capture the if it's making your job easier, and I'm glad that you said that. The way we capture is how much time does it save us, because we know as entrepreneurs our time is money. So right now, what is your desired income per hour?
Yeah, I guess you're talking to me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Desired income per hour. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still struggling with that part. But I would say I would desire to make like $50 an hour.
Okay. So you $50 an hour?
Yes.
All right. So what would $50 an hour do for you?
make my life a little bit less stressful, less bill, less, you know what I mean, bills I have to worry about. I'm not really trying to get rich. I'm just trying to, you know what I mean, maintain right now. So
Okay.
maintain.
All right. And so, okay, do you first? I want to ask permission to have this conversation with you because there's no right or wrong answer, right?
Yes.
But what I'm trying to do is help you derive how much money it really takes to fund the life that you want to have. So, when you say I just want to maintain, why do you? What is that feeling like?
Uh, I don't know. I would say right now. Hold on. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would say right now, my wife and I, our bills probably add up to maybe like less than 3,000 a month.
I'm
So,
I'm glad you
so
said that. You finally got me beat. Rayvon said I had the cheapest bills in life. You got me beat. I can't do it.
now we're modest around here. Now we're splurge when we need when we want to, but for the most part, it's bare minimums, no fat. Um,
Okay. So at $50 an hour, how many hours do you work?
uh, I can really call work. I'll probably say about 6 hours a day.
Okay. So at 6 hours a day and you want to make $50 an hour, so you're gonna be making $300 a day.
Okay.
Now, the systems that you use, how much time does it save you? And how easier does it make your business?
And that's the part I'm having a problem with quantifying, and I will get there. I want to do that, but I've always liked technology. I've always been like a geek or nerd or whatever when it comes to this type of stuff. So I don't even look at it as time saving. I almost look at it like you have to do it. um, so shit, I don't know.
So this what I would do. I would this week I want you to just monitor. This is how you monitor. Don't um think too hard of this. Just every day I want you to write down what you're doing. Just keep a scrap piece of paper with you and write
Hmm.
down an action. I'm talking about this is what I did in my business, just business actions. I want you to write that down for a complete week. And then at the end of the week, I want you to take all of these pieces of paper. I want you to have one for every day. So you're gonna have 7 pieces of paper, and you're going to quantify the time you spent in that activity. So let's say that you woke up and read a book. I want you to put that down. And then we're going to quantify how much time you did that. If you sent emails, you negotiated a contract, if you went and viewed other property, looking for your next rental or your next flip, I want you to sit down and write down every single thing you did. And then I want you to take next to it, I want you to add the time that it took for you to do that activity. Now, if you can apply a technology app or a system to do the stuff that you done, that's how much time you're saying, and that's how you quantify the action.
Mm, I guess that could be easy
Yeah,
to
just
do.
just don't worry about the work part of it. Just write it down every day. Just write down, write down, write down. So here's how this looks. Let's just say you spend so much time, like you write an offer, you negotiated with your client, and then you negotiated with the other listing agent, and then you talking to your client for about 2 hours about this deal, and you spent about 4 hours in one day just writing a contract and negotiating a contract, right? And you say you make $50, or you want to make $50 an hour, so you spent $200 on that. Now, after I realized that I spent $200 in time and I can hire a transaction coordinator to do this for $400, can I buy back those hours?
Yes.
That's what technology should do. So that's why I asked, does the technology you guys are using, is it making you more money or is it saving you more time? Now, the dangerous part of this is not knowing, because you can do the wrong thing too long. So just because it's like, ooh, it's a cool app, and ooh, it does this, and ooh, it does that, does not necessarily mean that it applies to you. Because at the end of the day, when we continue to get busier in our lives, we have to quantify our time. So we could have 1,000 apps and then go find one that does everything that we need. And it probably costs us maybe $300, but that sounds like a lot of money, right? We're saying, oh man, $300. And just to manage my business, absolutely. But if the $300 equates to five, like I want to make $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, actually. So if I spend $300 a month on an app that saves me time, and I'm making $1,000 an hour, it makes sense. But if I have so many apps that I'm spending 8 hours of my day managing people and apps and not selling any real estate, then I have too many apps and too much technology in my business. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right. So, how many of us have started with that process? Because that's like the foundation. We really need to know how much money we want to make an hour, because that helps us find the price range. And then we want to know how we want to make this money. Do we want to be a buyer's agent or a listing agent? Because that helps us pick what technology we use and what systems we use to leverage our time. And then what part of this, how many of these actual apps or systems do we actually need to do what we need to do to make the amount of money that we want to make? And that could be um, anything, right? So your money that you want to make, do not compare it to the next person. You have to compare it to your life, because your whole job as a real estate agent and an entrepreneur is to design the life you have, not live a life by default. See, when you got a job, you can only use the amount of money that they give you. But in this life, in this career, in this field, we can design and make as much money as we want to make. If you want to make $5,000 an hour, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you only want to make $50 an hour, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's about, does this satisfy the life that I want to live? And what do I need in order to make that happen? So if someone wants to volunteer, I can help you do it. And then let's figure out what apps you have. But first, I want you guys to write these apps down. So right now, Zillow has a free lead generation app that you can use, right? It's called Zillow Net. And so how many of you guys have a premier Zillow account?
Had one, I couldn't afford it.
So
I do.
the actual premier Zillow app is free. You can have a premier account, and it's free. But if you want to use the services, it does cost money. But now Zillow has came up with, it's called Zillow Flex. I'm sorry. And so what they will do is, you do not have to pay an upfront cost to have leads. You just have to pay them a 35% referral fee when you close one of the deals. Now, the reason I'm asking you to do that little evaluation in the beginning, because you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Would it be worth it to get leads from Zillow with no upfront cost and then pay them 35% in the back?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. So, the other thing that the Zillow Premier account does is, it now has transaction management tools in it. It has a CRM in it that's free. It has forms and stuff that you can use to manage your business. So the Zillow Premier app, everyone should download that because it's free, and it has a lot of tools that you can use in it for your business. Also, Opsity has an option as well. So Opsity will send you a whole bunch of leads. But another thing that Opsity will do is, if you have this app called or this system called Social University. If you go to Social University, you can pay it up for it like a year. I think it's like $700 for a year. Or no, I think it's $700 for a lifetime membership. Now, what social a university will do for you is they will create your ad material, and all you have to add is pictures. But they write the ads for you. You don't have to worry about writing Facebook or Instagram ads. They do it for you. Now, you can take that ad and run it, and you're going to get hundreds of names on a piece of paper. They're just going to be people that may want mobile homes. They may just have been playing on the internet, but for some reason, they filled out this form. You can send those leads to Opsity, and Opsity will call them until they can't be called anymore. And once they turn those leads into clients, they will bring them back to you and give them to you, but then they still charge you a fee for that. So these are three lead generating apps that you can use in order to grow your business. Now, another reason why I asked you to figure out if you want to be a buyer's agent or a listing agent, because on the listing side, they have lead generating apps and systems that you can use as well. How many of you guys ever heard of Offers?
What
It's
is it again?
Offers, OFFRS.
Oh, yeah, I heard of it. I never researched it though.
Okay. So if I wanted to be a listing agent and I wanted to build a forum area, one of the first apps that I'm going to invest in is going to be RedX and Mojo. And the next app I would invest in is Offers. Now, there are some title companies who pretty much have a kind of like free version of Offers, but you have to do a little bit more work. What Offers does is it sends out, they use the Census Bureau, the census reports, and they send out surveys to people to see if they will be willing to sell their home. And they will continue to contact these people until they have nurtured them to say, yes, I want to sell my house. And then they will sell you the lead. So if you had a specific area that you were performing, you could use Offers, and it will help you get known in that neighborhood. And instead of going to door, you could actually save more time by going to the people who are more amped to sell than others. Now, the reason I said RedX and Mojo is because the average consumer name is not posted online. So they will do radius searches in neighborhoods once you have picked an area, and will give you the email address and the phone numbers that you can use to call. Now, what's a free version of RedX and Mojo? Does anyone know? How do y'all find names and phone numbers? I mean, phone
Oh,
numbers and email address for people. Do y'all look for people's phone
yeah.
numbers? Like, are y'all anyone calling expireds?
I've used been verified before.
Very good. Been verified, free people search. Now, the negative of using these free apps is you have to do a little bit more work, right? But if you don't have any money to invest in your marketing right now, let's say you're a new agent and you don't have any money, there's a free version. It just requires a little bit more work. So they are only going to let you put in one name at a time. Been verified, will it let you put in more than one name, Diamond?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, so if you had a list of addresses, then you have to literally just put in this name, and then they'll give you the information in. So you have to load them up. So imagine you trying to call 100 people a day. It may take you 4 to 5 hours to do it versus calling 100 people through a dialer and through Mojo, and it take you 30 minutes. So, but there's always a free way to do whatever it is that you need to do. And then you have your marketing material, right? So if you was using Buffer now has a free version of their system. But there's also a free version in Canva called Publisher that will schedule your post. You should be using Canva for your marketing. And then you need a system that you can use for your email marketing. So
Can I?
there's uh-huh.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
What did you say in Canva? What was the name of that thing? Because I have that. I have a few of the things that you're referring to, but I haven't used the scheduler in Canva before. What did you call it?
Publisher is if you go up to the top and you hit marketing and then they go to apps, you'll see it there. But actually in Canva, if you go to the home screen and you look down to your far left hand side at the bottom, you'll see content planner. Now the difference is you'll have to do a little bit more work than you would have to do in Buffer or Hootsuite.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, if you were a listing agent and you were going to be, you had a whole system, you could use Parkbench. So what Parkbench does, it is for listing agents. It gives area information. So whatever's going on in that community, it allows you to do marketing and put information on your website about the area in which you service. So Parkbench is also a really good app that you guys can use for that. Are you using or anyone doing email sequences? Or do you know what I mean by email sequence? So, does everyone know what an email sequence is?
No.
Okay. So, if you look in your email sequence is a set of subject lines that people are using to capture your information in order for you to buy a product from them. So, as far as real estate, since we sell real estate, we would send a series of emails with catchy subject lines to get people to open it up. So it increases your open rate. And we send them in a sequence because the more people see these, the more amped they are to open them. So right now, if you looked in your personal emails right now, even your business emails, you may see an email and the subject says, "I can't believe she did this." Now, because we're a nosy society, wouldn't you open that versus we sell apps for $99 a month? Most likely you're going to open it up because you want to see what did she do. And then when you hit the button, you're disappointed because you realize that they're trying to sell you something. Has that happened to any of you?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. So that's what an email sequence is. And you can do it as well. There are systems that will set them up for you. And then there's systems that you can just use your MailChimp account and you can take some of the catchy phrases that they have and you've seen in your email and do the same thing. You just have to make sure that your email body has a advertisement and a call of action. Push this button, respond here, click here to get this deal. So give me an example of what the body should sound like as a real estate agent. Now I say you got to have a call of action. So what do you guys do? What would you want a person to do if they received the email from you and they wanted to go to the next step? How do I get them to the next step?
Call now or schedule an appointment now.
Very good. So right now, you can send an email sequence to real estate agents in other states. So there's 49 other states that we do not service. But we could send an email sequence to the real estate agents to show that you give referral fees. So right now, we are giving referral fees to all of the people who are moving from Silicon Valley and offering them a special concierge package. To get more information, click the link below. But the subject line says, "Oh my God, I can't believe she did this." So of course, when they're gonna open it up, it's gonna say, "I just increased my referral fee to 45%, and we offer a free concierge package for people moving to our city." Click the link below. Now, it's hard to do that from Gmail because you don't know the analytics behind it. So you need a system that can control and go to the next step. So it should be able to build landing pages and squeeze pages, and it should be able to give you the report of how many people opened it and and get the information from them. So now you're going to need a list of people to send those emails to. Where do you think you get the list from? Just guess. Anybody? Where would I buy a list of names from?
I
Fiber.
I know
Very good.
I know eBay sell names and email too.
Very good. Very good. So the reason I want you guys to kind of think about this stuff, because there's a, like I said, there's always a way to do it. A free way, a cheap way, and an expensive way. And I don't really want you to always go to the expensive way if you have enough money to do it, because expensive doesn't mean easier, or expensive doesn't mean it's going to save you more time or make you more money. It's all about my business, what I need, and how much time or how much money I'm trying to make. So you have systems that will give you email templates. It will give you scripts that you can say. All you need to do is use the system to your advantage to make sure that it's something that you need in your business. Don't always just go to it and say, "Hey, this will make me better." Now, are you guys using RPR?
Yes, I love it.
You love our okay. So what does it do for you, Tania, so that they will understand why it's such a great app to use?
Um, I go in to look up the seller, the name, the size of the house, the lot of the house. It give me a lot of personal information about the owner of the house, the neighborhood, the school district. It also have the parcel number. Sometimes I take the parcel number, look up the GIS on the map, to make sure that the house is not sitting on somebody else's land. Sometimes I zoom down in it. I mean, it offers a lot of valuable information. It also tell you how much the house worth, what's the square footage per the cost per square footage of their house or their neighborhood. It have a lot of helpful information on there.
Yes, it does. You also can take that app as if you're an investor agent, right? This might not be helpful to a lot of agents, but if you are an investor agent, you can take that app and turn it on in the neighborhood, and it will show you where all the distressed properties are. If you have the elite version of it, it will actually give you the balance and see if they're behind on payments, behind on taxes. It will give you that information. So RPR is a really, really good app for investors to use. Now, if you wanted to manage your marketing, you can. If you are, I don't know, I can't tell you if they won't or will let men use this app or not. But they have LER Social. So LER stands for Ladies of Real Estate, and for $20 a month, I'm sure in the recession the price will go up a little bit, but for $20 a month, it will give you all of your marketing material. So it will give you your newsletters, your email signature, your logos, your door hangers, your postcards, your just sold, your just listed, your listing presentations, your buyer presentations, your pre-listing presentations. It will give you all of that and customize it with your information on it for $20 a month. So it's also another good app that you guys can use. Most of you guys should have Canva, but there's also another app called Primer. So Primer is free, and it uses AR to level up what your property will look like. So you can use it for houses that's under construction, or you can use it for homes that are like not in good shape and you want to show what it's going to actually look like. Just be real careful that you're specific to say that this is a picture of what it could look like, not what it does look like. But it uses AR to help you show people how the house is going to look. So I would use Primer if I'm a buyer's agent, because let's say that you're showing a house and people don't really have vision. And so you're trying to convince them about this house. And you're like, you know what? You could just paint this room. If you painted all these rooms a neutral color and picked up all this carpet and put tile down, then it would look like a completely different house. Well, what Primer will do is actually do it for you and show them. If you take the phone in the room, it will show them what the house would look like by saying what you said. Does everybody know what AR is? Okay, I'm gonna assume that you don't. So we have two types of technology that is being used in life.
I don't.
Okay. So there's two type of technologies that are being used in life right now. We have AI, which is artificial intelligence. So those are really fake people that are communicating with the consumers to make them believe they're actually communicating with real people to help them buy your product. And then we have AR, which is augmented reality. So it changes the way things look and it shows people what it could be versus what it is right now. So, what are some other AR apps or things that we're doing right now in our business as real estate agents? We've been doing them for a really long time. So it's augmented reality. So that means I'm creating something that could be. What's
Are you talking about renderings or maybe a virtual tour?
very good? We've been using virtual staging and virtual tours for a long time. And so this app just takes it a little bit further for you to be able to walk in a home with your client as an agent and show them what this room could look like. They also have a machine, and it's been on the tip of my tongue until I'm talking to y'all right now. For some reason, I cannot remember it. But the reason why our international sales increased over the last 2 or 3 years is because now the people don't have to book flights, come over here and look at opportunities to invest in our country. We can, as agents, can go in and they have this machine that will spin around and give them a 360 view of the house. Does anyone know what that machine is called? Say
Matter Pro.
it again.
Matter Pro.
Metapro, yes. So literally they can be in the house in a whole nother country and be able to make a decision on if they want to buy this property or not. So that's another example of AR, augmented reality. So when you're looking at these apps, they're all going to be in either one of those. It's going to be artificial intelligence or it's going to be over here in the AR, which is augmented reality. There is an app right now that you can use to it's called Magic Plan. So it gives you this will probably only relate to Andre or people who are doing flips or building houses. It allows you to list your renovations. It'll give you estimates. It'll make your bid sheets for you. It will help you understand the actual floor size, how many tiles it's going to take to get the floors done. So those it's called Magic Plan. It helps you answer your for an agent though. The reason why I listed it is because if a buyer says, how much do you think it would cost me to take all this carpet up and put tile in here? You can use it for that as well. It'll scan the floor. It'll give you cost estimates. It'll tell you exactly how many tiles you need to buy, how much quickset needs to go down there, and how much it may cost for them to actually get that done. So now they can use that in comparison when they're talking to contractors. So that app is called Magic Plan, and it could be
Magic plan.
uh-huh. It's called
Thank
Magic.
you.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a person who does open houses a lot, if you want to stand out, they have an app called Curb Hero. So it allows them to log in online. It'll also give a QR code. On that QR code, you can attach a flyer to the property, some information about the neighborhood, the organizations where the grocery stores are, where the pharmacy is, where the schools are. the information of the websites to get in touch with the schools. There's so much you can add to this QR code that will help people make a better choice. And if they did want to buy this house, you could actually list on this QR code the 5 closest houses in the neighborhood that you could actually show them after the open house is done. Now, where can I find that information? It's a one tab thing. And that information, where would that be? So if you guys go into your MLS, go into Realist. When you put the address in, hit the tab that says Neighborhood Profile. It will give you all of that information that I just told you on one sheet of paper.
Janelle,
Mm-hmm.
what's the name of the app one more time that you just said for the open house?
Curb Hero, and it's free.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Now there's a paid version of not Curb Hero, but it's another app called Spacio, and it's an open house app, but it manages the leads. So instead of you having to pick up the phone, and if you've been in real estate for a while, we usually say, hey, if you had an open house, you're supposed to call the people the very next day. Well, what Spacio will do is do it for you. It will automatically start communicating with the people who signed in online. It would automatically start sending them emails. It'll give them a question form. It will start triggering them to communicate with you. And it will put you on top of mind as soon as they sign in. It will send them a thank you. It'll do all of that stuff for you. Now, that app is not free. It's $25 a month, but it's actually worth having, especially if you have bad follow up skills.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Spacio. Spacio.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Now, there's right now you guys probably are struggling with your productivity and managing your business so that it flows really well. So workflow. So like an app that I really like to use and it's free is called Trello. But if you want to get Trello to automate for you, then it could cost you anywhere between $20 a month to $40 a month. There's another app. It's called Clozio. I'll spell it for you. Clozio. If you don't want to hire a transaction coordinator, for $32 a month, it will take your transaction and all of your business on the listing side and the buyer side from contract to close. So I teach you guys when we're doing contracts that you need to keep up with dates, right? So all you have to do is literally log the contract into this system and it will remind you and keep you and the client abreast of everything that's going on and all the dates that they need to watch. And it costs $32 a month. You can actually start the app for free, but for $32 a month, it will do for you probably 90% of what a transaction coordinator will do for you. Now, does any of these apps help you guys?
Yes.
So I really want you guys to start playing with these apps. The first place to start with apps, especially if you struggle with your social media videos and coming up with content and all of that stuff, if you go into Canva and just go up to the top and look up apps, they literally can take some of your videos and change them around, do a lot of crazy stuff with it. And if you're not working with anybody and you want to start getting a list of names, my suggestion would be to do the Zillow Flex or to go to Opcity and start running ads.
Oxity is Oxidy.
I think it's Oppcity.
Oh, Opsity. Okay.
Uh-huh. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Opcity?
I think it's spelled Opcity.
Yeah. I may not.
Yeah, that's how you spell it. It's just
Okay.
Op City. Yeah.
Okay. Now, people will say, like, it's a bunch of names and they're not really good leads, right? It gives one thing it gives you is practice. You can practice your scripts on these people, you can practice your consistency on these people, you can practice your follow up on them. And they may
Practice your
not.
patience.
You very good. Yes, you can practice your patience on them. And then we never really know if these people are going to turn into business. And so, what I want you guys to understand is we never turn down business. Imagine having a client that you have and you've shown them 100 properties, or you have a client and they can't make up their mind. Every time you get them under contract or get them close to the contract, they won't pull the trigger. Do you just start working with them?
No.
No,
What do you do with them?
I
Keep
put
keep
my client in
keep checking
category.
in on them. I mean, check in. Keep touching bases with them.
So how long would you touch bases with them?
Well, I would do text message, email. Um, I would like at least once a week to stay fresh on their mind.
So this is what I would do. I would There's always somebody in your office that's not working, not doing anything, right? And they need practice as well. So if I've connected with someone and every time I showed them a house and they couldn't pull the trigger, or they want to buy a house and I've shown them my max. My max is 10. They don't want to see, they keep wanting to see houses, but they don't want to write any offers. I am going to refer them to them. So this is how that conversation would go. I go, hey, Ray, I have a client who's very motivated and wants to buy a house. I just don't have enough time to work for them. Would you like for me to give you this lead for a 50% referral fee? Now, the person who's not doing anything, what are they going to say?
Yeah,
Sure. So if they can convince them to buy a home, I'm going to make 50%. But I'm not going to exalt any more of my activity or energy with them because it's not making me money. Because I know how much money I need to make with an hour, and I know how many hours I need to spend with a client. And when I'm over those hours in that time, if I can't find anything creative to do from my computer, I refer them to someone else. So me and Shannon just had this conversation. She had a client, and no matter what she could do, she could not get them to pull the trigger. What did you do with them, Shannon?
Well, I was about to refer them to someone else, and finally our deal came through. I think they felt it in their spirit. The stars aligned and it all worked out. But I was about to walk away and count my losses because I was calculating how much time versus money I'd made.
So one of my suggestions to her was, hey, why don't you do this? This was a lease, so this is different from a buyer. Won't you ask them how much money do they have in application fees and put in a whole bunch of applications? So how many did you put in at one time?
We put in six of them.
And they finally got one accepted. Did you have to go show them 6 houses?
No, not at all.
What you have to do, just schedule the appointment, right?
That's right.
So all you have to do is be creative. So I'm not going to keep putting people in my car, or I mean, I say that because that's how I sell real estate. I'm not going to keep showing houses to people and they're not they can't move the trigger. If they do get accepted, they don't like it, and I'm not making any money. Now her price ranges is good because she knows I don't want to make less than $1,000 on a lease. So if you don't want to spend at least $1,800 a month on a lease, and I'm not going to show you. But instead of going to all of these places, we're just going to send in the apps. How much money do you have to pay in application fees? You can do it 6 times. We're going to write 6. If you don't like the house after we get the application, all you lost was $45. But do you want to move? Because these people needed to move, what, July 1st?
Yeah, and they are not in state. So they were needed to move for work by July 1st and from Georgia.
So technology made that happen. She could FaceTime them, or she could just write apps and call people, send the apps in electronically. But how much money do you have? Because at this point, you need to move, and wherever you stay, with 5 bedrooms for your children and a place for you, a roof over your head, is sufficient enough in your price range.
Janelle,
Hmm.
I know this to work because I have two renters that just moved in this month, and we didn't see the property until after their application was approved.
Hmm. Yeah,
Or you can get one of the ones that's has multiple properties. They say you can lose your application fee, or you can simply apply it for these other 5 listings that we have.
absolutely. So I was telling Shannon that as well. If you guys don't have any business right now, you should find in the you can go in the MLS, right? And what I would do is put in my price range. So this is a nugget for you. Let's say that Shannon said her the lease that she would go looking for is an $1,800 lease. Okay, so whatever areas that you're working in and you want to do leases in, or the area supports your price range, I would look in the MLS, put in sold in the last 30 days. It'll tell you all of the property management companies that were leasing those houses. I would call a property management company and ask them, send me your vacancy list every month. Can you put me on a rotation? On the 15th, I'm going to call them and say, hey, do you have any vacancies coming? I will create an email campaign and put all of my property management companies in a group and constantly send them emails letting them know that I have active renters and I need your inventory list. It's easier to get a house that's coming than a house that's on the market, because everybody sees the house on the market, but nobody sees the house that's coming unless you ask for it. So if I know that you have 4 houses coming up, I'm going to send if I know I got renters that's going in that area, I'll just work off of your vacancy list, because every property manager wants to have a zero vacancy list. But if you let them clean it up, take the pictures and put it on the MLS, it's everybody's game. So if you work with a lot of renters, that should be a practice that you do at least once a month. Getting all of the property management companies' information, being top of name. You should know someone's name. Hey, Janelle. They know I'm calling because they know me. You also figure out their criteria, because you're going to have people right now, because of the housing market, people are going to default to renting. So you should have a property management number on speed dial of people who can rent from all types of backgrounds. You should have a property management company that rent to criminals. You should have a property management company that rent to big dogs and pit bulls. You should have one who take evictions. You should have one that takes no income, that they just moved out their house, that don't verify. You should have all of those people who will let you move in with just a double deposit. You should have a category for that, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time in your car. All you have to do is look at your list and place butts in seats. So if you have not done that and you're running around in your car and you keep saying to yourself, every time we will do an application on the house, it's gone, that's what you should practice. You should have at least 4 or 5 property management companies vacancy lists in your email. So when people call you, you know this is the property management company for you. You're not gonna be able to rent anywhere else because you got a criminal record and an eviction. Or you have a 500 credit score, and some of y'all are writing apps and they got a 500 credit score, and the criteria clearly says that they have to have a 650 and above. So now your clients is spending money, and they wasn't going to qualify in the first place. But all property management companies have a criteria. Does that make sense? So I would do that. I would make my life easier. That's the whole purpose of these apps. These apps is to make it either easier or to make me more money.
Did you add TransUnion Smart Move?
Well, TransUnion Smart Move, I saw that's what we use in our office. That's how they do apps. But I do teach agents that I would run a Smart Move on all of my clients, right? So I can see if they're telling the truth, especially if they stutter or have an issue, because it doesn't actually give you the credit report. It just tells you if they're likely to be rented, and it gives you the number. So when people say, "Well, I don't know what my credit score is," well, I would have each office should have a Smart Move account. So I would say, "Hey, we're going to use our office Smart Move account. We're going to pull your credit to see if you can qualify for a mortgage." What's another, I mean, for a rental? What's another way to see if they qualify before you even start showing them property?
Had them to pull their own credit.
Some sometimes Credit Karma will help you, but it's missing one. What's another way though that you don't have to do anything and they don't have to do anything? How about have a lender pull their credit? Because if they have a 700 credit score and they're leasing a $2,000 house, they got at least $4,000, right? So if they got a 700 credit score, the mortgage company gonna pull it for free. They got $4,000. You probably could convince them to buy a house.
I had that same conversation this weekend. We're riding around River Oaks looking at different rentals. She come out of the Gables, but she thought maybe she wanted to rent a single family. She wanted to stay in the Montrose River Oaks area, but she saw real fast that it's a difference between staying in an apartment and staying in a rental. But she makes all the money, she makes everything else, but she got this ideal in her head that is going to be a pending recession or depression or whatever going to come, and everything going to hit the fan. I'm keep trying to tell her that's not really going to happen. You know what I mean? So um, tough conversation to have with her. So
Yeah, we definitely need to be practicing the conversation, especially online. When you guys are using technology and meeting people online, the relationship is not there. So being able to convince them is twice as hard. But we really need to practice this conversation. Like, what do I tell? I mean, we're kind of shifting gears here, but what do I tell a person who wants to rent and they're going to be spending a lot of money? They have all these criterias to meet, and I know as a real estate agent, in most situations, not all, but most situations, it's really not smart to rent. How do we have this conversation?
that's where the YouTube app come into play.
Yep.
Knowledge.
Hmm. We know that that money costs money, right? And so right now, what people are in fear of is the cost of money. So the first antenna goes up when they say, "Oh my God, the interest rate is 6%. That's too high." Well, actually, since money costs money, the interest rate on rentals is 100%. Every time you rent, you pay your rent every month. You're paying 100% worth of interest. So if you got all the criteria to buy a house, why not invest the other 94% on you? Give 6% to the bank and 94% to yourself, because you don't get anything back when you rent. You're not in the game, and you cannot make a shot from the bench. So, in order to play in the game, in order to get the highest equity gain, because when interest rates are high, equity gain is high. So, right now, you can take this $4,000, use it as a down payment. You can apply for some programs to get your closing costs paid. But now I am gaining a lot of equity. So, I'm using my house as a savings account. And I have more choices, because if they raise your rent, you don't have a choice but to pay it, but your mortgage will not get raised.
Janelle,
Hmm.
I use the same approach that you're referring to as well, but One thing I always ask them is because I'm getting a lot of pushback like everybody else, but one thing I do frequently ask is when they say, I don't know where the economy is going, I just rather rent than buy. These interest rates are so high. And so I'll just simply ask, are you saying that you don't want to pay a mortgage? And when I asked that, it was like, no, I don't want to pay. I'm not saying I don't want to pay a mortgage. I'm just saying I don't know where things are going. And I said, because if you're saying you don't want to pay a mortgage, you already are doing that.
Somebody's mortgage. You may not be. You're right. They're paying a mortgage, just may not be their own mortgage, right? So there's no return on that. And in our states, not a lot of states do have rent control, but here in Texas, we do not have rent control. So your rent could go as high as the owner wants it to. Are you prepared for that? If the recession lasts longer than a year and you're getting in this lease at a year, what's going to happen next year when the rent goes up? Can you forecast that your income is going to increase as much as this rental? And
That's
most people will say no.
And the crazy part about it is they coming to you most of the time because they're scared of the rising rent next year.
Yeah. I had a lady tell me, "Can you please help me find um a rental that I can get in for 5 years?" I said, "It's impossible in this market. The savvy." I'm sorry. Did y'all hear me? Okay.
No, ma'am, you
I had a
didn't.
lady ask me, could I help her find a 5 year lease? And I said, no, ma'am. In this market, the savvy investor will not lock you into a 5 year lease. That would not be to their advantage. She said, well, I don't want the price to go up. Then you need to get out the rental game and you need to buy a house where you have control, because it's not going to happen. And she was living in the Woodlands, and her rent is going up. Her rent is up. Her lease is up next month, and she's too afraid to buy, but she still wants to live in the Woodlands. I said, they're not going to lock you in for 5 years. Nobody is. That would not be smart on an investor's part. Right now, you'll be able to find the most short-term lease that you've ever been before. A person will do a 6-month lease with you because they know probably the rent is going to go up in the next 6 months, and they can raise the rent.
I have a question, if I
Mm-hmm.
can ask. We're
Sure.
talking about the rent is going to be rising for people who are renters. If you have buyers that are addressing you, like, was this really a good time to buy due to the interest rates have gone up? How are maybe someone in the group are addressing that to get them to buy?
Does anyone want to answer it?
Well, I tell them that the interest rates haven't went up. To be honest, like it never should have dropped down to the 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of just happened because of COVID. So technically, the interest rate are where they actually should be. We just assuming they went up because we're basing it off what actually happened 2 years ago, which no one seen coming.
Mm-hmm. And it probably won't ever happen in life. So go ahead. Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say I just try to share stuff that I read and listen to on YouTube. If it's not too long on YouTube, I'll try to share them a little snippet of something that I hear or article that I read, or if I post an article, I tag them in it. You know what I mean? So I just try to educate them. A lot of times they don't want to hear what you say. It's kind of like your kids. If somebody else said it, then it makes sense. You know.
Mm-hmm. What we have to do is we first have to understand it, right? And so the housing market will never fail. There will not be people not buying houses, but there will be people who are making smarter decisions. So they have to understand the higher the interest, the more money I make. And we're this is the normal interest rate. Our parents were buying houses during the time when the interest rates was 13 to 18%. So if that's the case and housing was still selling, if In 2002 to 2007, when the market crashed, the interest rates were at 5.5%. That means our market is still going to stand. One thing about it though, most mortgages don't fall in equity; they raise in equity, which means the house that you are trying not to buy now is going to cost you more if you don't buy it right now. So, is it a good time to buy? Yes, it is, because the price is only going to go up from here. So if I can afford a $300,000 house right now, I should buy a $300,000 house, because that same $300,000 house in 3 more years is not going to be $300,000 anymore. And if the interest rate raised 2 more points, now I can buy less house and still pay more money for it. So it makes sense to buy now. If you can afford to buy now, buy now. If the interest rates happen to drop, then you refinance. But we have to be in the game in order to play.
And that's the thing. I think most of us um, think that your house is your last option. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't think that, you know what I mean, you move up or you sell your house, get the equity, you know what I mean? Everybody thinks it's a final decision. So I guess that's the tough part too.
Yeah, because not enough of us are educating the clients, right? I usually ask agents when they decide to coach with me, what are you going to be? Are you going to be the lifestyle agent, or are you going to use technology to inform people about real estate? So are you going to be the educator? And you will find that more educators make more money in our business than the lifestyle people, because the lifestyle doesn't teach anything that, but if I sell enough real estate or I do enough of this, that I can have this lifestyle. But what everybody is looking for is how to get there. So the more you educate a community and educate yourself, the more money you're going to make. Because what she's asking is a valid question, right? We hear that a lot. Is it a good time to buy? That's the number one question in real estate. How is the market? Is it a good time to buy? It's always a good time to buy. It just depends on what you're buying. But if your family is renting right now, it might be a good time to buy. Now, when is it not a good time? When is it a better time for a seller to lease? There are some situations where they need to lease.
Maybe if they just opened, like got a new car or something like that.
Yeah. What about somebody going through a divorce?
I would say the financial hardship.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody going through a financial hardship.
Yeah. If they're going and they don't have the money, they're going through a financial hardship. They can't put nothing in their name right now. They're going through a business merge. There are some reasons why people should not buy. Like they can't touch their credit right now. It's not a good idea. So we shouldn't always use it, but 90% of the time, it's a good time. So the education part of it on your end can help a person determine if it's a good time for them or not. That's an individual thing. Like moving a stay-at-home mom that's going through a divorce out of a house to go get it to pay rent. Is that smart?
Yes, if she can afford it.
If she can afford it. But she's never had a job. So what does it take to buy a house? Absolutely.
Income.
So she can't do anything but rent.
And also I wanna say if they changing fields, like changing professional fields,
Mm-hmm.
going from, I say, going from working for a warehouse to engineering.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. That's a good one, Tania. Because a lot of times people are going from, especially in this, what's happening right now. A couple of months ago, I want to say maybe in April or May, 11,000 people quit their jobs. Right. Most people have gotten accustomed to working from home, and they've come up with some type of business that they've created for themselves. So now they're being entrepreneurs, and a lot of people are not working jobs. They're becoming entrepreneurs. So now they're going from salary to 1099. Can you buy a house in that transition?
You can, but you have to have at least 2 years of tax returns, right?
So can you, right? No, you have to have 200, you have 2 years of tax returns in that field. So if you were a salaried employee, you have to be collecting 1099 money for 2 years. So I met you and you just switched fields. Even if I wanted to sell you a house, could I?
No.
I mean, kinda, but
Owner
the
financing.
yeah, the right answer is no. But technically, yes, I could. It's just cost you a little bit more, right? Could they not go to some of these programs like Divvy or owner financing or private lenders, people who are willing to take their chance? But it's going to cost them a little bit more. So the answer for typical American, no. But if they really really wanted to and they had cash flow, could I sell them a house? Yes, I could. Make sense? All right. Do you guys have any questions? Did you guys write the apps down? So, really,
Yes.
what I want you to do before you decide to dive into these apps, I will say it again, evaluate your business. Decide if you need technology to save you time or make you money. If you need both, you need to decide what systems will be you need to use, because using everything that I just gave you will take too much time. You can't manage a lot of systems. You cannot spend half of your business day managing systems that's supposed to manage your business. So evaluate what systems you need in your business to make your day easier where you can spend more time making money, and then research these systems. Research to see if there's a free version of it. Ask other real estate agents in some of your groups that you interact in, what systems are they using that's going to help them, that is helping them make a lot of money or making their job easier. When you're calling these companies, and if you have to pay for the system, ask them to give you a referral to agents who are using it and have had success with it, and really contact those people to figure out the pros or cons of how it's working for them, especially if you're going to be buying leads. If you're going to be buying Zillow leads, or Boomtown leads, or Bold leads, or Ylopo leads, or Realtor.com leads, offer leads, there's a lot of lead generating systems that you can purchase. Market Leader, but ask them for some referrals from agents who have used it successfully that you can contact and have a conversation with, and research those people to make sure they're real people, because some of these systems are really really expensive. And then make sure you're set up to use it. So I really hope this helped you guys, and I will look forward to seeing you guys on the same app, same time tomorrow. Do you have any questions? All right, you guys have a really great day.